So, I just watched Iron Lung, and it was pretty good. Straight off the bat, pretty good. Let me set the scene though. So, it was about 7 p.m. in the local movie theater. I was about I think 4 beers in. Had a container of about 10 dumplings I got from the fucking dumpling store across the road. And I was watching it with my mate. I'm not gonna have to say her name. We'll call Wilson, and his girlfriend. We'll call her fucking Jacinda. Yeah, Shaniqua. You know, we'll go with Shaniqua. So I was fucking third wheeling hard. I was kind of very familiar with Markiplier up until then. The other two were not. But suffice to say, my initial thoughts just, rattling off the top of my head, really exceeded expectations. YouTuber movies are kind of a mixed bag, let's be honest. You got movies like this were actually pretty good. Then you got remember Logan Paul's Airplane Mode? Fuck, that was a train wreck. And it's definitely worth watching, even if you're not really that big, even if you don't know, the source material, like Iron Lung. Personally, I never played the game, I just saw Pyrocynical's video on it, and it seemed interesting enough. But if you're not really a fan of the game, or you don't know the game, or you're not really, haven't really watched Markiplier, or did Markiplier cheat in his FNAF 1020 video like I have, I think you'll still get a lot out of it. So let me just rattle off some things I think that work, because I got some shit written down here. Sound design. The sound design's really good, and I think that it really hones in on that kind of claustrophobic aspect, and I'll get into that a bit more. But the sound design kind of keeps you guessing, it kind of immerses you in our main character, Markiplier's... Fuck, I can't believe I'm saying that. It really immerses you in Markiplier's perspective, because you can't really tell what's going on, It's kind of that... It helps to kind of add to the horror of it. Script. The script is alright. It's a lot better than I thought it'd be. It's not perfect, and I'll get into what I don't like about it. But I like how Markiplier kind of... By the way, it was written and directed and acted and edited as well by him. It kind of leans into a lot of the surrealism that the initial Iron Lung kind of... The original Iron Lung kind of had some of it, but I think Markiplier really turns it to 11. And I think it's good because I think the biggest trouble with adapting, a 40-minute game into a 2-hour movie is that it's a 40-minute game of you navigating to different points on a map. How do you translate that into an interesting 2-hour film? It's a difficult task, and I don't envy Markiplier for taking on this project. But what I think the script does well is that you never know the whole story. If you just a little bit of context on the game, and no, obviously I won't give spoilers. The context is that there is an event called the Quiet Rapture. So the Quiet Rapture basically eliminates pretty much almost all signs of life in every planet everywhere. Obviously, there's some humans on space stations left, and the Iron Lung, there's this submarine that's been dropped in order to scan this blood trench that supposedly has life. Because they're trying to find answers. And it kind of gives an answer to what caused the Quiet Rapture. That's kind of one of the big questions. It's how did we get here? And certainly the film expands on that a lot more than the video game did. But I like how it's ambiguous, because there are a lot of moments where you don't know what's real, and Markiplier doesn't know what's real. So you don't, he starts, I don't want to reveal too much. But there's a lot of kind of surreal aspects, there's kind of a big difference between what's really going on and what's in his head. Because, if you're cooped up in a fucking Iron Lung underground, in a fucking deep sea trench, you're going to start going insane a little bit. And I like how they kind of take that approach where the audience is kind of guessing. Markiplier's acting is actually pretty good. Some of the dialogue is a bit, but I'll get into that in a second. But Markiplier, obviously, growing up when he was in his heyday, I can't see him as anything else. And, even if he fucking gave, a Daniel Day-Lewis transformative performance, I could still only see him as the fucking FNAF guy. But it's serviceable. It's not holy fuck, what are you doing? But it obviously, it's not, Leonardo DiCaprio, but it's good. It's pretty good. The VFX is amazing. A lot of, the blood effects and a lot of how they shoot blood, which kind of leans into my cinematography point. But a lot of, for a movie on a $3 million budget, it definitely feels like a lot more. And I think that's definitely a big win. And like I said, the world building with the script, it's interesting. Markiplier isn't the only character in this, and I think I got the trailer and you can see another person. But it's an interesting world that they're creating, and you know, there's a lot of segments where you only, because like the Iron Lung, like I said, I don't want to say too much, but the Iron Line kind of goes dark at some points. You can only see through like the photos, and I think their use of kind of like the flash of the camera is really good. But let me talk about what didn't work. I think the editing, and Markiplier edited it, I think it kind of lets it down. And like I said, one of the issues, well, one of the problems is how, you know, how do you take a 40-minute game into a 2-hour movie? And I think they somewhat make it work. 'Cause there are a lot of moments where you're like, fuck, what time is it? But it's just when, you know, Markiplier's doing kind of like menial bullshit tasks. But, you know, it's few and far between. But if my kind of philosophy with, you know, film critique is that if you can notice it, then it's an issue. And there are a lot of moments where it's like, well, a fair amount of moments, not a lot, fair amount of moments about an hour in where you're like, fucking, can something else happen? And the dialogue, there's a lot of swearing, and it doesn't really work. You know, it's not fucking like Has-Been Hotel Hell of a Boss levels, but it's a bit excessive to the point where it becomes a bit cringe. And like I said, if you can notice it, then it's an issue. Now, Markiplier's direction, it's not bad. It's very interesting. Like I said, the cinematography is very, kind of leans into that claustrophobic element, and I think Markiplier did, or the whole team did an amazing job of kind of making that feeling and the Iron Lung itself come to life, because the set is one-to-one, you know, and they expand on it a little bit because there's like a under area. But I think how Markiplier kind of visualized and kind of made I don't know the word, like reified kind of this abstract concept of, you know, a fucking big iron thing under blood. I think he did a lot there, and it was really good. But overall, I give it a 7 out of 10. Do see it. Is it the best movie you've ever seen? No, of course not. A new horror classic, as I fucking put in the title. I don't know about a new horror classic, but I definitely reckon we'll be talking about it for the next couple months. It's probably one of the best YouTuber movies. But yeah, that's about it. See ya.